Good. See everybody? Okay. So, in my opinion, the Green Bay Packers are the greatest team in NFL history.
Ooh.
I'm not from Green Bay personally, but when I was 8, I started playing Pee Wee football, and by chance I was assigned to the mini Green Bay Packers and have been a diehard fan ever since. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Packers' long list of championship titles and some of the key players and coaches who helped achieve them. Let's start with their first, second, and third championships. In 1929, 1930, and again in 1931, the Packers won 3 straight NFL titles, and this one will be the last time. Back then, there wasn't an actual championship game. It was whoever had the highest overall standing, they were crowned the champion. So whoever had the best win-loss ratio. At the end of the season, the team with the best overall record was crowned the champion. There we go. I didn't even have to do that. The 1929 Packers were led by team captain, running back, head coach, and team founder Curly Lambeau. He did all of it. They outscored their opponents throughout that season, 198-22. Yeah, they're pretty good. Completely crushing every team they faced. He played and coached the team until their first championship title in 1929. Then he retired as a player, but he remained the team's head coach until 1949. It wasn't until 1933 that the league actually implemented a championship game at the end of the season between the 2 best teams to decide who the actual champion was. Lambeau led the Packers to 3 more titles during this new pre-Super Bowl era, which included a victory over the Boston Redskins, who are the Washington Redskins today, in 1936, and 2 victories over the New York Giants, once in 1939, shutting them out 27-0, and beating them again in 1944. Larry Craig was a running back and the key player for the Packers during the 39 and 44 championship wins. And fun fact, he's also one of the first players ever to be fined by the NFL after he and Hank Soar, who was a running back for the Giants at the time, got into a fist fight during the game in 1941. In the decade to follow the 1944 league title, there wasn't a whole lot of productivity coming from Green Bay. Players retired. Curly Lambeau left to coach the Chicago Cardinals, who are the Arizona Cardinals today, and morale and expectations were at an all-time low. But in 1960, a legend named Vince Lombardi became their new head coach. Lombardi completely changed the atmosphere in Green Bay. His first season as head coach, he led the Packers to a winning record and was one play, literally 8 yards away from winning the NFL championship game in his first season. This would be one of the few seasons in which he didn't lead them all the way to an NFL title. The following season, in 1961, he led them to their first championship game since 1944. They shut out the New York Giants again for a second time in a championship game, 37-0. So what he did is pretty much the equivalent of taking a team like the Washington Redskins today, who are 1-9 and statistically the worst team in the league, and then by the next year taking them to the Super Bowl to shut out the Patriots 37-0.
Wow.
Like, that's how outstanding it was. It was a monumental win.
Sounds like some evil stuff.
Yeah. Coach Lombardi led them right back to a championship game the following year in a rematch against the New York Giants, which was more evenly matched, but the Packers still won 16-7. Green Bay made it back to the championship game 2 years later in 1965 and defeated the Cleveland Browns, led by running back Jim Brown, who was one of the greatest of all time. In 1966, the Super Bowl era had officially begun. The Packers went to the first and second ever Super Bowls in 66 and 67, winning both games and securing their second ever three-peat back-to-back-to-back championship run. No other team in NFL history has ever done that. Wow. Bart Starr was a quarterback during their dominance in the 60s. And then after Lombardi lost his battle with cancer in 1970, the NFL renamed the Super Bowl trophy the Lombardi Trophy in his honor. And the Packers didn't win a championship for almost another 30 years after that. But they won their next Lombardi Trophy in 1966 with the legendary gunslinger Brett Favre at quarterback, beating the New England Patriots.
Thank God.
Yes.
Heck, Marty did.
They won their next and most recent Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2010. To sum it all up, the Packers have won a league-high 13 NFL championships. The Giants and the Bears are tied for second place, winning 8 apiece. They are the only team to ever win 3 championships in a row, twice in NFL history. The Super Bowl trophy is named after the legendary Packers head coach Vince Lombardi. And the roster has had some of the greatest players to ever grace the field, including current quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who's arguably one of the greatest of all time already. Arguably. They currently have a record of 8 wins and 2 losses on the season and lead their division, so who knows? Maybe championship number 14 is right around the corner. Thank you, and go Pack, go.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Go Eagles, guy.
This is a Q&A?
Why
We can't do
is
that.
why do they wear cheese heads?
Do any of you guys know why?
No.
So-
Wisconsin's a cheese state.
Yeah, but do you know why they actually wear a cheese head?
Oh, I don't know why they actually made
So it's like their unofficial mascot, and the reason why they wear it is because when the Bears won the Super Bowl in 1987, they made fun of everybody in Wisconsin, all the sports fans, by calling them cheeseheads. And then one guy, his name was Ralph Bruno, he went to a Milwaukee Brewers baseball game like during the off season, and he was wearing the first ever cheesehead that he made, and everybody loved it so much and they wanted it, so they embraced the suck, so to speak.
That's cool.
And by the next season, like the NFL season, everybody had them. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
really
crazy.
cool. Oh,
That's
nice.
really awesome.
That's a good little tidbit. I dig it.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
That's a good
Go
Well done.
Packers!
Well
Thank
done.
you, thank you, thank you.
Go Birds.